I'm going to go ahead and call this meeting of the Libertarian Party of Pinellas County to order. Mr. Stevens, in person, you have Morgan Dean, Jasmine Herrera, myself, and you being here would make sure that we have quorum. Oh, sorry, guys, I forgot. There's the agenda. Take one, pass it around. They said they could hear me fine where I was. And if taking a look at that agenda, if there are any changes that you'd like to make, now would be the time to move to do so. Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda as presented. Move to approve. That was Frank that moved to approve, Nathan. Is there a second? Jasmine seconds. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed signify by saying no. Hearing none, we'll move on to Mr. Stevens for the, oh, I'm sorry. We have member comment. Anybody who is a member of the Pinellas County affiliate, we have 5 minutes for any comments that you wish to make. We will have you on video here, and I'll bring the mic to you if you need it. You should be able to, it should be good enough there.
So, as you may or may not know, I'm running for Congress. I need help in a number of ways. At some point, we're going to need to gain signatures, and we need people to sign up to volunteer to help me gain signatures. We need people to sign some petitions today, brought them, and then also things as stupid as liking and resharing social media kind of stuff. I'm horrible at social media. I don't post enough. I need people to help with that. You can go to frankforcongress.com to sign up to help. Anybody that's here, please sign the petition before you leave. Now, go ahead and pass them around.
And to be clear, Mr. Kraft, you are running as a Libertarian, is that right? Thank you.
And the official position of the Libertarian Party is they're focusing on nonpartisan races, more kind of local stuff. It will take LP Pinellas to really work together to help on this one. We're not going to get too much official support, though they are support them. I guess that's it.
Thank you, Frank. Are there any other members who wish to make a comment? Hearing none, Mr. Stevens, you are up with our prior meeting minutes.
Oh, all right. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Let me pull them up. So, as our minutes are always available on pinellaslp.org, go to events and then meeting minutes. Our last meeting was our first general business meeting at Nueva Cantina, and more so our first business meeting back face to face. It was a great success with 19 people in attendance between members and guests. Going through the meeting, notably, we spoke about our coming CRM access and training for our off and other upcoming members who may be interested in the future. Going through again the RCV, our ranked choice voting ballot initiative in Clearwater, because that is really awesome. And lastly, we got to meet our new Region 8 representative, which is the person who links between us, the county, and the Libertarian Party of Florida, Eden Vladzek. And yes, that is all for that. And of course, you can find all of it pinellaslp.org.
All right, I will entertain a motion to approve the minutes as presented. Jasmine moved. Is there a second? Frank seconds. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, moving on to officer reports. It's item number 6 on the agenda for those following along. I will be the first. So since the last meeting, I corresponded with several members and prospective members about activities and events that we have ongoing. The Young Patriots magazine article that I mentioned at the last meeting was published. We got some pretty good feedback about it. At the June leadership team meeting, we laid out our plans for the RLEP, the Registered Libertarians Engagement Program. I met with Camilo to input our financial information for our campaign finance reports. I approved those campaign finance reports with the county. We renewed our hosting for another year with Bluehost for our website. Lined up the September speaker for our coffee talk, Loki Knoll, who I'll talk about more in the announcements section. Submitted an update to our region rep for the regional report. As of June 16th, we had 2,902 that registered as LPF. I used that date because that was the date that the last disc was mailed. I have not gotten the July one. I imagine they'll be sending it out tomorrow. I had a call with the Division of Elections in Tallahassee to better understand petitioner requirements on behalf of Frank Kraft. That actually happened this afternoon. On the 26th of this month, I'll actually be in Lakeland speaking to the Polk County LP about connecting and engaging and some of the things that we've done as opportunities for growth. And I've had more calls than I cared to count with the Supervisor of Elections office to better understand our reporting and contribution limits. Speaking of, anybody would like to donate to the party, feel free. I can take those donations. I just need to write down a name to provide to our treasurer. In the event that he makes it here before the meeting ends, you can actually give them directly to him so that I don't have to do that. The only person who cannot do that with is Jasper. Ms. Vice Chair, you're up, and you're going to want to.
All right, so kind of to caveat off of what Brett just finished with, due to my day job, I cannot take the D word that he just mentioned. I can't ask about it, can't really talk about it, I don't know, can't post about it. So any of that, just see the other officers, not me, for legal reasons because of my day job. So for what I have to talk about for this meeting is t-shirts this time. So if any of you guys tuned into our officer meeting a couple weeks ago, you might have heard a little bit of it, but I'm going to put out an email this week, but as you guys are all here listening now, what I would really like is if anybody is good at graphic design and would like to help with designing t-shirts, please email me. My email is vicechair@pinellas.lp.org. I'm looking for any design ideas as well. So even if you don't have a hand in graphic design, if you have any design ideas, logo ideas, or phrase ideas, anything that would look good on a shirt, that way we can kind of start repping that locally. And I want it to be centered on Pinellas County when it comes to Libertarian Party, since we're focused on local. So when it comes to the branding and the logos and the design, there are certain kind of like guidelines that kind of tell you which direction to go in. Those would be on lpaction.org/branding. So as we're coming up with those, just make sure it doesn't stray super far away from the LP guidelines. And I'm hoping to have something together to show you guys by September. So if you guys could help me generate some ideas, multiple brains are better than one brain. So that's all I have for my comment. Any questions?
Do you have any specific themes that you're looking for?
I'd say anything relative to either anything going on in the county locally or just like anything like libertarian, if you can combine those. So yeah, I'm trying to give people like free reign to get creative. So any other questions? All right, that's it for me.
All right, Mr. Stevens, you're up.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So I have a few things to go over in my secretary's report. So firstly, as a governmental organization, Pinellas County, specifically Pinellas County Board of Commissioners, has to make a budget every year. And similarly to organization, they sometimes use smoke and mirrors. And so what my point is, we're about a month and a half, nearly 2 months into the budget negotiation process. And by we, I mean the Board of Commissioners. And we still like actual paper we can sit down and look at. Here is this, we're going this much in this category. The next meeting, which is specifically dedicated to budget negotiations and working and whatnot, is on August. That's as far out as they have approved, as they have planned working on the budget. And as far as I know, I do believe that on that meeting, they're going to finally publish something some actual substance. We should spend, no, we should spend this much here. No, we should spend that much here. Until then, I can't say too much about it because I don't, they can give smoke and mirrors figures, but until I get actual figures to a budget, it's hard to spending because we don't know what they're spending on. Past that, interestingly, non-budget related from the month of Board of Commissioner meetings, we have a surplus in apparently maintenance equipment. So they declared a surplus and they're going to sell some of that. Our social media figures, let me scroll to the right page. For the month of June, our post reach, that is on Facebook, our post reach, which is defined as the number of people who saw a post from the Libertarian Party of Pinellas County, was 1,288. Post engagements, which is when somebody sees our post, then clicks on it, likes it, comments on it, or just clicks on our page to see who are these Libertarian Party of Pinellas County peoples, was 450. And then our new page likes, which is people liking our Facebook page, was 15. And then lastly, to sum out my secretary report, I just want to give a quick update on, I'm going to say, my life situation. This time next month, I will have started in university. I am attending Lynn University in South Florida. It's in Boca Raton, Palm Beach County. I'm enrolling in the flight program, so yay me, I'm going to college. However, unfortunately, I can't really leave at 3 p.m. on a class day and on a work night to come to our meetings. So I think it's fair to inform you all that unfortunately my remote participation is going to become the norm for a while. With that, that is all I have for my secretary report. Any questions?
There are none, Nate.
There are none, Nate. There are none, Nate. There are.
All right. So our treasurer submitted a report, which you saw in the email. Checking account balance is about $2,900. We had $164 in donations in total in June. We had two big expenditures, one of which will be reversed. Our normal monthly Zoom of $11.99, and then our the group that we utilize to help us with filing of paperwork apparently charged us $149 again, and it should be annual, not quarterly. So we've already initiated the refund, and it shows in July, but it's not going to be reflected on this report. I probably can't answer many more questions than Camilo, but if you do have any, I am happy to address any that you may have. Laura Hartman.
My question is related to switching PayPal from our website to another server. Do we have a status update on that?
That's the very next item on the agenda.
I apologize.
So if there are no more questions, I can go ahead and move to item number 7, which is the new payment processor update. Thank you for bringing it to the table, Laura. We have been approved by the bank after we've gone through all of the work of registering the name with Sunbiz, filing for an EIN with the IRS. We have begun our 527 filings with the IRS. So we have been approved by the bank. We just got the test sandbox info yesterday, and we reached out to Sebastian to set it up on the website, and we have not been able to do that yet, but we will test it first and then we'll roll it out. That is one of the reasons that I have not been pushing for recurring donations, because then that means more work that we'll have to do in moving people from PayPal to the new processor, but that should be done shortly.
Who is the new processor?
It's Helix processing, but it is the cheapest that we could possibly get and way better than PayPal. If you are unaware, PayPal actually just upped their fees once again about 2 weeks ago to take effect at the beginning of August. Basically, it was anything to get away from PayPal because everything is cheaper. Are there any other questions about the payment processor update?
Is there going to be a transition period?
Yes. Yes, we have actually divvied up recurring donors and who we will call. When we shut them off from PayPal, we will reach out to everybody by phone at first so that we can go ahead and enter the information for you if you would prefer. If that is not a preferred method, we will send you an email with a link to do so, but only after we've confirmed by phone that you would prefer to do it that way. And I appreciate your information. Any other questions on number 7? All right, the meat of this meeting is about to come up. I know that that's surprising to everyone. So for those of you who are here, have you guys heard about the engagement program that we are looking to do to reach out to and engage registered libertarians here in the county? You may have heard inklings, or if you were at the leadership meeting or watched the replay, we talked about it in depth, and we talked about kind of how we've done it. I've actually been asked to prepare some documentation by the chair of the affiliate support committee of the National Party. This may be something that actually goes out and is utilized other places. But to give you a quick rundown, we split the county into 11 zones. The county actually has a really nice map of the 11 fire response zones, and they're all zip code based. It made this very easy. It was color coded. It was awesome for me to break it up and see it that way. We're using the data that's available to anybody who requests it from the the Secretary of State's Office, Divisions of Elections, to locate our 2,902 registered LPF that appear in Pinellas, save the dozen or so that have stricken their voter data from that database, from being shared in that database. That's all publicly available data. What we're doing is we're hosting an open house in one of the zones. Our first one will be in September in Zone 6, which is the central part of the county, Pinellas Park area. We're going to be inviting existing members to attend, but the main focus is to introduce the party to people who have taken the step of registering LPF so that we can identify them, we can reach out to them, we can connect with them, and we can hopefully engage them, let them know that we're here, let them know what we do, let them know when we meet, and grow the numbers that we have. We've seen growth as we had a severe dip kind of toward the end of our virtual meetings, but we've seen as we've come back to in-person that number has really risen both last month and this month, and we're hoping to grow that number even more. This is one of the things that I spoke about when I was running for the chair role at the convention back in January. We got sidetracked with all of the organizational things that we had to do to get us caught up to the point where we could do this, but now we have the ability to do in person. So our first contact is going to be to invite them via email if they've provided it, either in our CRM or in their voter data. Our second contact is a postcard that we will mail using postcard mailing rates. I've actually figured out exactly how big they need to be, how thick they need to be so that we can save that 20 cents per piece of postage. That is a significant savings because that is the biggest expense of this entire endeavor. And then contact 3 will be a phone banking effort to remind them of the mailer that they've received. The postcards will have LP branding and include our standard events details, things like business meetings on the third Thursday, leadership team meetings on the final Wednesday, coffee talk on the second Saturday, and Liberty Yoga on the first Sunday. It will leave space for the address label and a label with the open house specific info for their zone, because we're going to be utilizing the same postcards for all 11, but we don't want to have all of that printed on all 11 because we don't want to have to plan 11 for their zone. Instead, we can just put a label on. This will also allow these to be used at outreach events going forward, where we have a table, we have an event 2 to 3 weeks after that we can invite them to, because generally what happens at an outreach booth is you have less than 60 seconds to talk to them, if you even get that. And so this is an invitation for something that we've set up specific to that event for them to join us. So it's a multi-use card that we'll be able to utilize. We will have a postcard addressing volunteer event. This will be in person and coordinated, although we can, for those who wish to participate, do a drop-in stamp and label if you can't make it in person and you really, really want to participate. One of the cool things about this is it gives us some nuts and bolts of real world politics, because this is something that every group does, every campaign does, every party should be doing. And this is a really easy one because it's literally going to be 2 labels and a stamp. We'll have all of that printed out, ready to go, but it gives us another event that we can invite people to. We can see the people who are willing to give their time to the party. Once they're dropped off at the post office, we'll phone bank those in the zone to remind them of what they received. If they threw it away, we'll inform them of the open house in their area. It's a friendly, social, meet your local libertarians opportunity, basically just for us to connect with people that have registered LPF. After the event, we'll follow up with attendees by whatever contact information they provide us. At the event, we'll have a greeter that's there that collects name, email address, and the like. So here's what all of this offers us. It's a chance to connect with our low-hanging fruit by reaching out to those who've registered LPF in the county. For a lot of people, that's really big because it takes a step to do that, to identify that you are a registered libertarian. So they've at least done that. It'll give us a chance to engage our active base with a volunteer activity that offers future campaign experience, which I imagine people like Mr. Kraft will appreciate later on down the road. And again, it gives us a chance to see who's willing to give time. We can show donors that we are good stewards of their money for those who have committed money to the party in the past, either in one-time donations or recurring donations, and showing that we are putting the treasure that they've entrusted us with to good use. And it will also give us something to point to for prospective and future donors to the party to give in the future. And it will also provide our affiliate with a standard outreach protocol as we look to have those 2 to 3 week later events that are specifically to us when we show up at somebody else's, where we can actually engage and connect with people that are local to us. And it maximizes our time investment in that outreach, because if you go set up a booth or are in a parade, you get a glimpse as somebody's walking by, maybe. But if you have a plan and you bring people in and you're able to invite them to something later on down the road, you'll actually be able to connect with them on a much deeper level than a one-time flyby. And we'll get to see the people who are interested enough to come to that kind of thing. What we've done thus far is we have spread out the duties between myself, Nate, Camilo, and Jasmine in what we're going to do. Nate, I believe, had an update until we talked earlier today. And he and I cleared up where it will be occurring. So I think that we'll go ahead and skip his update on what he's working on doing until he has one. But he says that we'll have one at the July meeting for leadership team, which is at the end of this month, the final Wednesday.
I'm in the same boat.
Jasmine's in the same boat, and Camilo's not here. So, does anybody have questions?
What do you need volunteers for immediately?
Immediately? Nothing. I will be putting out a call for volunteers, especially among our most active people. I actually keep a list in our CRM of the people that I see most frequently, that I see opening our emails and engaging with us most frequently. And so those will be the first people that I go to because they're the most invested already. But we will announce a volunteer event for the stamp and label party. Probably will not do it here because I don't want to wear out our welcome with Nueva. And we will probably do something in the northern part of the county just because our business meeting right now is in the far south part of the county. But just, or, possibly central, but just kind of an idea. And as soon as we have a location, we will announce our volunteer event because our printer will turn them around for us like that. Questions? Comments?
Yes.
Concerns?
Ain't no party like a libertarian volunteer party.
Indeed.
I really love it.
Well, and it may be that if you have awesome handwriting,
I do.
that we would not do labels for those, if that's something that we find that people would prefer to have a handwritten address, or I definitely agree,
It's like somebody took
but it's a lot more
time
labor
to
intensive.
Press this envelope for me,
Right.
as opposed to being like, it out in 15 seconds.
Yep.
I always open stuff when it's personally handwriting.
Mm.
What could this be? Like,
Yeah.
it's exciting.
So if we have the numbers to do it, that will be the way we do it. For each zone, there are about 275 to 350 addresses.
Okay.
So that's a lot of handwriting if it's only 1 or 2 people, but if it's 10 people, many hands make light work. Any other questions about, yes?
Did I miss
Laura.
Did I miss the door-to-door part, or am I just like eager for that?
There is not a
Hand
door.
deliver? Are we getting enough doors?
So the first contact is email, second contact is direct mail, third is phone banking for this specific open house.
Okay.
Door to door is not particularly effective in the small number of addresses that we would have in a rather vast geographic area because they're generally 4 to 5 zip codes big, and that's a lot of walking.
It's like second contact after the program.
So
Got it.
yeah, that's more of a campaign thing later on down the road, and will be something that we help with for future candidates. But we're not in the running phase. We're barely in the crawling phase when it comes to volunteer activity.
I appreciate you with everything that you've done thus far to birth this. I know it's been a lot.
So are there any other questions, comments? Yes, sir.
Somebody's gonna have to draw the short straw and lick all of those stamps.
No,
Be
these are
ready.
self-adhesive now.
Sponges, are you kidding?
No.
Are you kidding?
The postcard stamps are self-adhesive.
Stickers.
We're good.
Come on. No, we
We're
can
good.
box it.
Get your tongue ready.
Hysterical. That's awesome.
All right, guys, let's get back to the meeting real quick. We'll break. I mean, all we have is announcements and public comment left. Unless there are any other questions for the RLEP, Registered Libertarian Engagement Program. Anybody online, Nate or Marcia, have questions or comments? Hearing none, I'm going to go ahead and move on to announcements. We do have a volunteer project that is not related to this, that can be done from home. It's easy to do. It is all phone and internet based. I brought it up last month and no one took me up on it. I've done the work at the county level, but I need somebody to do the work at the city and town level. And this is going to be groundwork for our future nonpartisan races in the cities and towns here in the county. We're basically finding out when terms start and end and how many elected positions each city and town has. We can, if you're super excited about it, we can find out about appointments to a lot of the commissions and boards in those cities and towns, which is a great springboard for those who are interested in running for office later down the road. But that is something that I do need volunteers for yesterday. As I noted, we'll have the in-person volunteer event for the mailing. As Jasmine mentioned, we are looking for graphic designers. Our next 2 coffee talks have been confirmed. On August the 14th, we will host Sarah Squire from Liberty Fund. There is a slight possibility that she will change that just because of some things that have happened personally. But my September person, who is Loki Mull from Floridians for Free and Fair Elections, to talk about RCV. She's slated for September, but has kept the August date open in the event that we need her to do that. Our next Liberty Yoga, because of the holiday on the 4th, will take place this Sunday at noon. Our leadership team meeting will be July the 28th at 7 p.m. That's done via Zoom. Check your email for it. And if you want to get involved in the Slack conversation about the Pinellas LP, I have made it easier for you to do so. Just go to pinellaslp.org/Slack, and it will redirect you right into our channel. Announcements? Any?
Are we still looking for a website change here? Or?
No.
Okay.
Any others? Hearing none, I will open things up to public comment. This is for those who are not members as well as members. Last time we had a campaign speech, and I was ready to just shut that down this time. But anybody who's not a member or a member of the LPF, we've got 5 minutes public comment if it's relevant to the group. If not, it can be done after we adjourn.
You can shoot me that email for calling each city, state, figure that out.
Okay.
Start that.
All right. Do you just want your city, or do you want all of the cities and towns? Because there are a lot.
Start with 5. Let me get it knocked out. Get a feel.
Okay.
Get the process down.
Okay.
And move from there.
All right. Sounds good.
Open
So,
to 5.
I've got Laura
And
for
challenge
5.
everyone else to commit to 5 as well.
So we've got Laura committed to 5. Thank you.
I'm willing to work on that also.
You can do that as well. All right.
Nice.
Make sure that you see me after the meeting so I can write down an email address for you. The best one for me to send directly the ask and the cities that I'd like for you to take a look at.
What is the best time?
Brett,
Hang on, Nate. I'm sorry.
Like the best time to be able to call them, because or to reach out, so it's difficult to.
So are you talking about for this particular vol? Okay. So for this one, the best way to do that would be to do it Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, because that's when the election offices or the
That's
city
what I was
office is
figuring
open.
They would be open and.
Yeah, it's a city clerk generally that you're going to be talking to. Anybody? Yes, sir.
So on like outreach type of information, do we have any pre-designed handouts that we can just
Nothing at the
canvas our own neighborhoods if we want it?
We may have a few. There are still some physical items that I need to obtain from our prior chair. But I can work on that. I can point you to lp.org or lpstore.org. Unfortunately, that generally costs money.
Randall, you could also email me. I have a lot of like literature and stuff that I got from the LP store. So anything that you're interested in, I can hand over to you.
All right, and I'd definitely be curious to see what you've got, and
Yeah.
maybe add to it if necessary for some more information.
Yeah. And then like, so anything that you need from the LP store, if you don't want to purchase it yourself, just let me know. But I do have a lot of stuff like literature wise from the store. So I'll give you my email after this and we can
Well, hers is pretty eady. It's vice chair at pinellas.lp.org.
Yeah.
All right. Nate had something. I'm going to have to mute in order for Nate to be heard. Sorry, you couldn't hear him, but I could hear him here. Nate, go ahead.
oh, I was just going to say, sign me up for 5. Who else is going to sign up for 5? Many hands make light work, folks.
Perfect. Well, then we have 4 people. I believe that will cover every city in town. All right. Any other public comments?
Something,
Yes, sir.
something that might help you guys with running candidates. I know that we've noticed that with Matthew Crowley's campaign, he was able to find a citizen's guide to running a campaign that his city worked on. So they had a candidate information packet. That might be really useful depending on what you decide to run for. It might also have information on how to sign up as a candidate, where to register, the requirements, documents, pay, what you have to pay, and all those things. So keep an eye out for those. It might be on the city websites too. That would be a really good resource.
Thank you.
If there are no more public or member comments, I will entertain a motion to adjourn. Yes, sir.
As far as the outreach, we're talking about, do you have anything in
I think they actually do have.
I know the LP store does, but I don't know that we personally do.
If we don't get it from Mark, are we able to order it to
Yep.
Yeah. So we can order stuff in Spanish because I know the LP store has stuff in
Spanish? Are
Spanish.
we allowed to translate it into other languages?
There's no prohibition to translate from existing work to another language.
So yes, yeah, we can.
So yeah,
So for example,
if we want it in Swahili and you know Swahili,
Yeah.
yep, absolutely.
Yes, please.
We just need a person to do the translation.
All right, guys, that offer to entertain a motion to adjourn is still there. Frank moves to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned.